We're here with Winter High School football head coach Dan Aaker. The Warriors face the Bonham Cavaliers tonight. Coach, week one in the books, your squad looked sharp in a win over Chamberlain. What was the thing that you saw in your team that's improved the most since your first few practices?
Well, I think probably the thing we saw the most improvement on is the same thing we still need to keep working on, and that's just the little line calls up front with us inexperience there, and then recognizing defenses and getting formations. You know what happens with the sometimes younger crew is when you start seeing a lot of different things. And you might have saw this a little bit in Chamberlain, where we had guys kind of moving around a little bit. We've seen strides in that area, but at the same time, that's probably our biggest main focus. So I liked what we've seen from the first day of practice to our first game, but those are definitely things that we need to get better at. But overall, yeah, I would agree with you, Bob. I thought we played well, and it was a good kick start to the season.
Tonight's game brings to town Bonham, who knocked off the defending state champion Canton last Friday night. They scored on a 95-yard screen pass and a punt return to beat Canton. Your team scored on big plays as well last week against Chamberlain. And I know you talk a lot about having big plays and limiting opponent big plays. Was that a bigger emphasis in practice this week?
Yeah, without question, from the defensive standpoint, I think that's our number one goal tonight is to prevent big plays, and they've got a lot of big play ability. But you know, it's that's a focus every week. But sometimes you're just going to see teams like you see tonight that have 3 or 4 guys that can house it if you don't take proper angles and not all 11 guys defensively do their job and tackle. I mean, it's really kind of a simple game when you get down to it, but those are things that got to take place. Offensively, you know, to create big plays, number one, you have to have a little speed, and we've got speed too. But the same thing, it takes 11 guys doing their job. That one extra block might be the difference. It's more challenging against a team like Bonham, who really fly to the ball. But I think that would be a focus, I'm guessing, from their end too. So that would be one of the 4 areas, I think, or 5 areas that both teams are focused on, and who can do a better job in it.
Bonham's Hunter Young has been getting a lot of publicity preseason and will be attending some national all-star games. Does this team take that as a challenge to step up and stop a player like that?
Well, the thing with Bonham, they have a lot of threats, so we can't focus on one. But he's a good player. He brings a different style than maybe the Corton kid did. The Corton kid had the big game against Canton, and he's really scary in open field. Young's also very fast, a little more physical, and gets downhill. And Sutera, their quarterback's also very shifty. So we never really focus on one guy. I mean, our scheme is set up to, we're a responsible, gap responsible assignment football defense, and that's what we believe in. So it's play your position, get to the ball, tackle, and so we're not necessarily focused on one player, but they have athletes, and he's a prime example of the kind of athletes they have.
Coach, coming into this game, your Warriors have yet to lose an SDSD conference football game, but these Bonham Cavaliers have played the Warriors tough over the last couple of years, in particular the regular season games. The 2012 game was 12-6 going into the fourth quarter, and last year was a 14-9 game down in Bonham. Over the last 30 years, they've been a real consistent winning program. As a coach, what do you like that Bonham does?
Well, they're very physical every year now. And I think that we know, I would say, since we started playing them, and it started in the playoffs 4 years ago, I think, they're right there, the number 1 or number 2 most physical teams we see all year. Doesn't matter if it's playoffs or regular season, and that's just kind of their mentality. They fly to the ball, and they're always good defensively, and they've challenged our offense. I think that one thing that probably sticks out a little bit early, and we played them early, and I'm not making excuses here, but defenses typically win early in the year because it takes a little time for offenses to get everything in they want. And so I think we've been better as we saw them later in the playoffs with things that we've been able to do offensively, which has helped, but turnovers included. But we know that it's always going to be a challenging game. They're year in, year out. They're competitive. This is one of the more athletic teams I've seen that they've had, and they've had some good ones. I think last year's prime example, they started out with us and Canton 0-2, and then just get on a nice string, and we're a scary team to see first round of the playoffs. So I think year in, year out, they're a team that's going to bring in and play hard. And but if I had to put it on one thing from your original question, Bob, I would say that it was just the physicality they bring to the football field every week.
Last question, Coach. You got the bye week coming up next week. The first few years of the schedule included the bye. The Activity Association included a bye. The Warriors were off for the final week. This year again, earlier in the season. Do you prefer having that bye early in the season or at the end of the season?
Well, I think if a guy could choose, I would go at the end of the season just because you're rested up heading into the playoffs. I think my second choice would probably be week 1, gives you a little extra time to prepare for the season. But I also think if you follow up after a quality opponent, that helps too. And we found that out last year. We found out when we played in Bonham over there, the bye week came at a good time because they really exposed some things we needed to work on, and it allowed us to address that. And I think really kind of helped us from our third game after that on. So, and I expect that to be the case tonight too. They're going to show some things that we definitely need to work on, and that kind of really lets us know where we're at, and we have a week to maybe address some of those things.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Good luck tonight against Bonham.
All right, thanks, Bob.